Hello, Steve White, Tripway89 for Steve Arts 89. Well, the drama surrounding the Paramount buyout, or potential buyout, is continuing. Basically, it looked like it was done. It looked like Skydance was going to buy it, but there were some problems. Shari was going to benefit, and she was afraid that she was going to be sued by the other shareholders who wouldn't be benefiting as well, and she wanted something in place to protect her, some sort of bid from them where they would actually have to, vote. And that way it would sort of, it's not like she did that to them. They actually would have a choice to actually vote for this, and then she wouldn't be sued about, doing it to them, was sort of the perception of it. But there's another group of people that have come together, put together a bunch of investors by a producer, the guy who produced Baby Geniuses, I think his name was Stephen Paul or something. And they're trying to buy Shari out, and that will get her out of the situation and leave Paramount as it is. So they would come in and they would take over her part and have say, and they'd, shape Paramount, but it would still basically stay the same company. So that's one option. The other option, of course, is she just gives up and stays where she is and continues managing it, and they manage to get around the fact they have no assets and all this debt, which it's not impossible. They've been doing it for the last few years. They don't necessarily need to be rescued, but so I don't know what's happening, but yeah, so it looked like it was pretty set that Skydance was going to do it. Sony sort of fell out. Skydance was going to happen. Warner Brothers dropped out. Sony fell out. Looked like Skydance was going to do it, but now it's looking like she's holding out because she doesn't like the way the deal's going through, and she's afraid she's going to be sued by all this shareholders who aren't going to get paid out, because she's just going to get paid out, basically. So another group have come in and they're sort of doing the same thing, but not. So it's all very confusing. I did read the whole article and it's very complicated, but basically, yeah, so there's this new group of investors that have been put together by one particular producer, and they're talking of buying Shari out. So it's a different situation from before when, there were issues with Warner Brothers, there were issues with Sony, and yeah, what is this guy's name? I think it's Stephen Puck. Another bit, Stephen Paul. Okay, I don't know where I got Puck from, but yeah. So I don't know what's happening, but it's a mess. No one knows what's happening. Every time it looks like they've got something sorted. Whoever comes in, I want someone to come in, shake the place up, and take Star Trek back to its roots. Make it a science fiction show that actually works in the same universe that's been established, for over 40 years before Enterprise ended, and they made the alternative universe with the J.J. Abrams films, and then the alternative universe / alternative timeline of Discovery. Because I've kind of made my peace with Discovery on some level, because I always resented the fact that they had created the show in a different universe and were trying to con Star Trek fans into believing that it was the same universe when it clearly isn't, because I don't know why they thought they'd keep fans or something and there'd be less backlash or something, but it was just insulting. It never worked, and they were just actively trying to go in the opposite direction of what they told us they were doing. But once they established it, there actually is an alternate timeline. That would explain all the issues. They don't have to, acknowledge an actual different universe, because, whether you're in an alternate timeline or an alternate universe, it's the same thing. Everything's different but the same. So it explains everything, it justifies everything, and it's just funny because they did that for us, but then they turn around and say, oh, no, but just because we have an alternate timeline doesn't mean anything's changed. It's all the same somehow, which doesn't make any sense. They just said that for the stupid people who didn't want to let go of the idea that their precious Discovery was part of the same Star Trek universe that all the other shows were, when it's not. It's not the same timeline. Like the J.J. Abrams films, it's not the same timeline. But yet they're still holding on to it, and they gave them this really ridiculous explanation or excuse to try and sort of backpedal, like, we've got to give the Trekkies, we've got to acknowledge that we're actually not the Star Trek that, they love, and finally, admit that. But we still need to give some deniability to the Trekkies who can't let go of the idea of it and can't handle the idea of their Star Trek being from a different universe and a different timeline and being inferior, or at least not sharing the same. I don't know why they even care. They don't like any of the original stuff, why can't they just have another universe, a show set in another universe, another timeline, and why do they have to try and force it in their minds into the other one? I don't know. So I want someone to fix that problem, basically. Part of me's made my peace with it, canon-wise, but production-wise, it still has the wrong format. It's a science. It's not a science fiction show. It's a future show. It's a drama just set in the future. It's a melodrama set in the future with all these elements that have their own merits but aren't Star Trek and don't give Star Trek fans what they want. Like the last season of Discovery, they took 10 episodes to retell one Next Generation episode and undermine it, instead of doing a season of 10 Star Trek episodes and Star Trek stories. So I want someone to fix that, and I want the sale to fix that somehow, but no idea how that's going to go.